Just the fastest, biggest, longest place I ever been. Nothing like no dirt tracks I ever run.
A little longer, a little faster, a lot more time to think.
It's a whole lot longer, a whole lot faster. I want to turn it to flag stand.
If you're not really careful, this track will bite you.
For these short track specialists, the Milwaukee Mile looks mighty big. The USAR Jackaroo Pro Cup is next. The last race here was the Hooters Cup Series, which made us stop. This time it is the Jackaroo Pro Cup Series from the Milwaukee Mile, the hometown of the 1992 Winston Cup champion, Alan Kulwicki. And in his honor today, it is the AK-207. Hello, everybody. I'm Rick DeBrule. You know, and this is not only the longest track these guys are going to race at all year long, it is also the flattest, very different than the steep, short ovals that they've been racing on up until now. And, of course, the guy who's been controlling the series up until now is this car right here, car number 10 with Mario Goslin. He is the points leader, the guy who's pretty much dominated, had a few bobbles, but not many. But this race is special. That's because it's a double points race. And if these guys, anybody's going to catch up to them, they're going to have to do it today. Gary Layton's in second place. You get double points today. Realistically, though, any chance of catching that guy?
I guess in a long shot there is. This is probably our only hope, really. It's do or die. It can really help us or it can really hurt us today. So we got a good car. If we can just keep the fenders on it till about the last 50 laps, we're going to try to see if we can win one of these things.
It's the fastest track you guys are going to be at with those straightaways. Is a big key staying out of trouble here?
Yeah, I think it is. I didn't know how I'd like this place because I like the bigger tracks, but I like to see some banking when I roll down in the corner, and these things here are flat as a pancake, but seem to adapt pretty well, and just going to try to go out and, you know, hopefully we won't get any blistered tires today. That's some concern on some drivers' part I've been hearing, and fuel mileage I think will be a key here too, so maybe the Tampico Chevrolet Monte Carlo can stay up front today, and maybe we can win this thing.
Gary Layton hoping he can do it out there. Once again, he is the guy who's out here trying to win, trying to beat the other guys and make up the difference in the points. All right, time to get this race started. Let's go up to Ray Dunlap and Larry Rice.
Well, thank you, Rick, and welcome, everyone, to Milwaukee. ESPN's continuing coverage of the Jackaroo Pro Cup Series. Larry Rice, this racetrack, a very fast one for these guys.
Yes, it's very flat, but very racy.
Starting grid today, Gene Morgan on the pole for the second time this season. Gary Layton on the outside of row 1. Mario Goslin, the dominator, in car number 10 alongside Chad Chaffin. Mike Laughlin back in the race car in number 54. Good qualifying run with him as he lines up with Brad May.
And then Brad Means and Marty Ward will make up row number 4 as we take a look at the rest of the field as they roll off. It won't be long till this race is underway.
See Lester Lesneski in car number 6. He'll start 10th today. Good qualifying run for Slammin' Sammy Patashnik, number 65. See Jerry Rector and many of the regulars there. Russ Galindo, Robin Caldwell, David Craddock, Mickey Hudspeth. A few names in this field you may not be familiar with, but many of the drivers here, regulars in this Pro Cup division.
Let's go down to Rick DeBrule.
Well, this is definitely the fastest straightaways that these guys are going to face all year, which in a way makes it a big horsepower track. They need the maximum horsepower, so when they come running down that straightaway, they can get the big speed. Talking with some of the Chevy guys, they feel the Ford drivers have a little extra horsepower. They may be running 25, 30 horsepower more. They say that could make the big difference in who wins or loses today's race.
Well, Larry, let's take a look at the points coming into the race. Mario Goslin with a healthy lead over Gary Layton, 287 points above him. Rector in third with Chad Chaffin and Lester Lesneski. Now, Chad Chaffin would probably be one of the last guys that even has a mathematical chance of winning this championship.
Yeah, as we take a look at Robin Caldwell, we're going to be right along with him today. And Chad Chaffin does have a mathematical chance, but it's going to be very, very slim.
Brad May also will have an onboard camera on car number 70 for us from Orlando, Florida. May will be back in the middle of the pack. Here's a look at this racetrack at Milwaukee.
Well, 7 degrees in the corners, but believe me, when you're in the race car, it seems like it's almost a reverse bank. Hardly any banking at all. Long straightaways, big sweeping corners, and a very racy racetrack. You can get off the corner side by side and through the middle of the corner the same way.
Well, folks, I said that Gene Morgan had 2 poles in 1997. Actually, this is his 3rd pole. He was a fast qualifier at Southern National Speedway and at USA International in our last race, where Gene Morgan went to victory lane for the first time in 97. Can he do it again today here at Milwaukee? We'll find out. The number 45 car has a new paint scheme, that powder blue with the black hood on the inside, and Gary Layton, who, as we talked to him at the top of the show, likes the big high-banked racetracks. This one very flat. We'll see how it goes. The green flag is in the air, and we're underway with the AK-207.
Well, this racetrack is easy to adapt to, as Gary Layton said. I think a lot of the guys are going to like racing at this place. They've never been here before, so they're a little bit uncertain. But you can see right now, Gene Morgan got a great start, and Chad Chapin right on the inside moves up and alongside Layton, and looks like he's going to take position number 2.
So Chapin makes a dive to the inside, and he gets that position as Layton goes from the outside pole. Oh, and some contact there right in the center of the turn as Layton came up. Looked like Chapin might have been on the brakes a little bit.
Well, Layton just carried so much speed into that corner, and he was just rolling the corner so nicely. I don't think he thought he was going to be able to run that much faster right through the center of the corner. When he gave him that little tap, he climbed out of the throttle, and that just let Mario Goslin go right on by.
1 lap, 3 positions lost.
Yeah, that's not real good. But it's a long race. He's not real worried about that. I think if I were him, I'd be real happy to know that thing's going to roll through the corner that fast. Look how much faster he is right through the center of the corner. It looks like Goslin as well right through the middle. There you see that other groove. Boy, you can tuck down and under a guy as Goslin is right there, and he's going to get by Chad Chapin.
Well, Mario Goslin stuck the Jackaroo number 10 on the inside of Chad Chapin, takes the position, goes to second, but look how high Layton's running. He's on the outside and losing more spots.
Yeah, you know, you can run side by side up there. Obviously, the preferred line is down on the bottom, as it is on almost any flat kind of a racetrack. The short way around is usually the fastest way. But you can enter a little higher and come off a little lower. It must be the way this racetrack is shaped. As we take a look there, Jack Maurice heading to the pit area, it looks like. But something about this racetrack just makes it ever so easy to run high or low off the corner and get position on a guy.
So Jack Maurice will take the number 06 car to the pits. Maurice from Gold Vein, Virginia, having trouble in the early stages here, and Ronnie Grindstaff also in the pits, so a couple of cars with trouble right off the bat today.
Well, it's a long race. 207 laps around this place. It's a long, long way. There's a lot of miles to run. Mario Goslin right now. Now, see, he's moved up on the outside. Seems to be handling just as well up there.
There's Maurice's car, the 06. He'll take it to the attention of the crew there. Looks like they might be going under the hood. So that's bad news for Jack Maurice in the early stages of this 207-lap race. And Larry, we asked Layton about the points today, because this is a double points race. And boy, it can really help you when you win, but if you go out early like it looks like Maurice might, it could just kill you in the points race.
Well, that's the big problem. It's not so much the ones that you can gain, is the ones that you can lose. If you go out early and all those cars, a lot of race cars on the racetrack, you can just lose a ton of points, and that's what everybody's going to be trying to avoid. They're going to try to stay on the racetrack and at least finish, and you're going to see some guys go in, work on their cars, and go back out several laps down.
Well, you see Gene Morgan there, who qualified on the pole. He comes into the race 11th in the points, and right behind him was Jack Maurice, and just 20 points separating those guys. So if Maurice is not able to get that car back in the race, could be a very bad day for him.
Yeah, Mario Goslin continues to work on Gene Morgan. He's a little bit faster, just hasn't found quite the right place to get around him yet. He's tried going in high and coming off high. He's tried several different ways. He's trying to sneak under him right now, but Morgan is able to just kind of float up in the middle of the corner and then diamond off and get a lot of straightaway speed where Mario just can't get around him.
Gene Morgan from Simpsonville, South Carolina, in the Valinite, number 45. He has had a very good season, a couple of up and down races. However, he went to victory lane at Kingsport Speedway on the concrete, and then they found out that he actually was a lap down. A very strange set of circumstances there, but Morgan's first career victory snatched away from him after he already thought he had won the race, and he came back and he said, I'm going to win one of these. Went to USA International Speedway, and he really put it on him there. So he's got a good car, and that team really coming together in 1997.
Yeah, you're riding along with Brad May there, and he's got a good run going. He's following Chad Chapin, doing a nice job in there. A lot of these guys early in this race just kind of running along, taking things easy. It looks like the yellow flag is out. Everybody's slowing down, coming off of turn 4.
So the first caution is out here at Milwaukee. The distance of today's race, 207 laps, and it appears that Joe Harrison may have lost an engine in the number 57 car, so that is certainly bad news for them.
Yeah, he's running very slowly, a lot of smoke, so he's going to head for the pit area, it looks like.
So Harrison will go to the garage area and take it to the attention of the crew there. The yellow flag out for the first time here at Milwaukee. You're watching the Jackaroo Pro Cup Series here on ESPN. We'll be back with more racing from the AK207 after these messages. Today's broadcast of the AK207 is being brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. They're delightfully tacky, yet unrefined. And by Jackaroo Meat Sauce. If you've got regular meat sauce, you ain't got Jack. And by Naturally Fresh, pure spring mountain water. It's naturally refreshing. Well, Sammy Potashnik is headed down pit road here as we are under the first caution. Joe Harrison's number 57 car actually just spun on the racetrack. It wasn't his engine, but let's go down to the pits and find out about Sammy.
Well, Sammy Potashnik brings the car in. Apparently, he's got a problem with the car. The engine, for some reason, won't run over 5,700 RPM. They played with the electronics, see if they can't fix it.
Well, Larry, of course, this is a good time to duck into the pits in the early stages of this race while there's still you know, you'll go to the back, but you got a lot of time to make up that ground.
Long race, so it's not going to hurt him too bad. He's going to have a lot of traffic in front of him. As we take a look here, that's the 57 car of Joe Harrison in the pit area. They're looking under the hood, so maybe there was some more problems other than just the fact that he had trouble on the racetrack. The smoke that we saw might, you know, we're not sure whether it was smoke from the tires or smoke from the engine. There was smoke down there, though.
So he did spin that race car out there, which is what brought out the very first yellow of the day. So the field is getting lined back up. We'll be ready to go back to racing. Go back down to the pits to Rick and find out what the problem was with the 65 car.
You know how they say it's the little things that'll bite you? How about this for being the little thing? This is a rev limiter chip, supposed to limit the engine to revving over 8,000 RPM. In Sammy Potashnik's car, it wasn't giving him more than, say, 5,700 RPM. They simply took it out. Now, he's on his own to make sure he doesn't over-rev that engine.
And Larry, I'll bet the crew chief's going to be reminding him about that throughout the day.
And especially on the starts and the restarts especially, because that's when you stand the biggest chance. When you just get a little excited, try to rev the engine too much to get around somebody. The car is geared properly for the mile most of the time. He's not going to be over-revving it just out there under normal circumstances. Boy, when you're shifting gears, you really stand a chance of having a problem.
Green flag is back out. We're underway racing. Gene Morgan, your pole setter, is at the front in car number 45. And Mike Laughlin, Mario Goslin, Gary Layton, and Chad Chaffin round out the top 5.
Yeah, Mike Laughlin having a great race. He's gotten around Mario Goslin. He was kind of lurking back there in third spot, but now he's moved into second. Seems to be very, very strong in this race. And look back there with Gary Layton and Chad Chaffin battling each other.
So Layton goes to the outside as Chaffin takes a duck to the inside, and here comes Marty Ward. He's making a pass on Brad May. So Ward will get the position there as he passes the 70 down the front straightaway. It's a drag race to turn 1, and Chaffin will get the spot.
Yeah, Gary Layton, though, running that outside. You saw him, you said he was running that earlier. Maybe he was just running up there to see what was up there, try to get the race car, try to figure out a way to run up there on the outside. He's run up there for a lap and a half now and seems to like it on that high side.
No quicker than I say give the spot to Chaffin, and look at Layton. He goes on the outside, kind of dirt tracking it there, coming off of turn 4, and he'll take the spot back away from Chad.
Well, he talked earlier about worrying about the tires, about blistering tires. That's the one thing you have to be careful of. You get to running as fast as he is through the corners and on that high side. Sometimes it is a little tough on the tires, so you got to make sure you're not slipping and sliding up there. You're going to blister them, and you only get so many tires. You only get 2 sets of tires at this race, so you want to make sure you don't use them all up early.
Marty Ward in the Hooters Restaurants, number 97, making his way up through the field. So there you see Layton is in 4th, Chaffin in 5th, but here comes Marty. He's going to try to make a move on Chad, so a lot of action here right at the early stages of this AK207.
Yeah, these guys seem to be running very, very even. As we take a look at Ronnie Grindstaff, he's in the pit area. He's having some problems in there. It looks like a long pit stop, so he's going to be out of contention for the win here.
Well, Grindstaff's been on and off pit road a couple of times there in the number 62. Coming to us from Manchester, Pennsylvania. Ronnie, a regular on this series, but things a little bit off the pace today for him. Up front, and there's Jack Morace again. He's into the pit, so it looks like a couple of these guys not having a good start to today's race at Milwaukee.
Well, they certainly aren't, but this is a very competitive field. You know, they were talking about the Fords having more horsepower, but it looks to me like very competitive in all areas. Everybody seems to be running very well out there right now, and They talked about the horsepower differences, but it doesn't seem to be true. Brad May is in the pit area. That's not a good sign for him. He had a good run going. Let's go down to the pits with Rick DeBrule.
Brad May brings the car in. According to the team, they say he's losing power. The problem is they just don't know why. They're trying to cool off the engine on the possibility that that's a problem, possibly have something clogged up on the front. But right now, that's all they can do. They're getting a lot of smoke out of the motor, and that's not a good sign. Brad May revving it up. You see all that smoke coming out. That's not what you want to see in a race car, especially at this point in the race. And right now, the crew seems a little stumped as to just exactly how to solve the problem. He starts to go out and stalls it. Not looking good for Brad May.
So a tough day for some of the guys who are up in the points. Look at Mike Laughlin, comes from 5th to 2nd. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile. Ray Dunlap, Larry Rice, and Rick DeBrule bringing you the action as we continue in the AK207. You're watching the Jackaroo Pro Cup Series. Gene Morgan having a strong run today in the number 45 car. Qualified on the pole for the 3rd time this season, so he's out front right where you want to be.
Certainly is, doing a nice job. Meanwhile, Brad May is in the pit area. Let's go down to Rick DeBrule and see if we can find out what happened to him.
Brad May used to say that Marty Ward was the unluckiest guy in Pro Cup racing. You seem about to take that crown away. What's the problem?
Well, we got it a little hot and it overheated. Hadn't had any problems up till now. We don't know what it is yet. We're going to pull it apart and see.
Just sudden, or was it overheating from the beginning?
It started getting a little warmer about 10 laps before the, 10 laps before the last caution, 5 laps, and just kept getting hotter.
You guys out? They're back here trying to fix it.
We're going to give it a shot. I don't know what we can do yet.
Well, it's been my experience that smoke out of the exhaust is not an easy fix, and I think it's going to be a long day for Brad May. Too bad.
Brad May was 10th in the points coming into today's race, so that really is a tough break if they're not able to get back out there. He's another one of those drivers that we talked about that could really, really hurt him.
Yes, and like you say, it's the points that you lose in a situation like that that's much worse than the points that you can gain by finishing up front, because hopefully most of the guys in the point standings will still be running in near the front, so you're not going to gain a whole lot or lose a whole lot unless you fall out like he did.
Well, we've seen Brad May up front a couple of times this year. He's led 127 laps this season, but one of the leaders of the list of people heading to pit road at this point in the race, so that's bad. Now, Lee Tissett's going to make a move on Charlie Ford there. Tissett in the 47 car, the black car, goes to the underside of the 55 and give that position this lap anyway to Lee Tissett.
Well, those guys have been battling here for the last couple of laps. Now Jerry Rector's going to go to the bottom side. Looks like he's going to take a spot away too, as Charlie Ford up on that outside doesn't seem to be running quite as fast out there as he was down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Next car in line there behind that group is going to be the 6 car of Lester Lesneski. So Charlie Ford's hoping he can dive to the inside and get back down and cut off that freight train, but it doesn't appear he's going to, just like Gary Layton. Looks like Ford's car just works better out there.
Yeah, it looks like that's where he wants to run. That's where he stayed. He had a chance to get down on the bottom of the racetrack, did not go down there, so it must be just the way the race car is working, the way he wants to run the racetrack. He stayed at the top. Now he moves down to the bottom, but still looks like the race car moves up the racetrack the farther around the corner he gets.
2 top 5s in 1997 for Charlie Ford, but now he's dropping back a couple of positions as you take a look at the field summary there to see where your favorite driver is running here at Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th we're watching there. Those guys running back there still not that far behind, maybe half a lap behind the leaders.
Well, it's a long race here at Milwaukee, so you got to pace yourself, and as we talk about each and every week, tires are so important. Well, there you see the leader in the number 45 is Gene Morgan, and right behind him, the 54 car of Mike Laughlin. Of course, back in November at Homestead, things weren't going quite so well for Mike.
Well, I had an accident November 2nd in Homestead, Florida in a bush race, and been taking me about 6 or 8 months to recover, but I'm just wanting to ease back into it, make sure that everything's going to be going all right. And the Hooters Pro Cup that they got going is a real good series. It's a lot like the Busch cars, so we're just looking to get going in some of these races they got.
Well, Larry, he's having a great run here today in that 54 car, but he said he had a little accident at Homestead. That doesn't really describe it, does it?
No, it was a terrible accident. There was a lot of fire. He backed it into the wall. The fuel cell, spilled fuel all over him, and it was a terrible looking accident. He was in the car for 35, 40 seconds in that flame. So he's very fortunate to be back running. And obviously, he hasn't lost his desire or his ability. He's running great here today.
Great run for Mike Laughlin. Welcome back. This is certainly the way to make your comeback. another driver from Simpsonville, South Carolina. So maybe these two in the front are just going to hook up and take off and leave everybody in the pack.
Well, they have pulled out into a little bit of a lead as we take a look at the interval and some of the front runners there. But these two guys seem to have gotten things together a little bit, and they pulled out into several car lengths lead over the third place car.
Well, those two certainly dialed in as Laughlin now just a car length back behind Gene Morgan. And boy, I'll tell you what, I am really impressed with the way things have come together for Gene Morgan in 1997.
Yeah, he's done a great job. We're right along there with Robin Caldwell. He's a little bit farther back in the field. You can see that just kind of taking it a little easy right now. Doesn't appear to be working the race car too hard.
There's Robin in number 35, the Turner's Restaurants race car, as he heads down the back straightaway. Now back to the leaders. Once again, Laughlin coming right up to the tail of Gene Morgan in the Valinite number 45. Doesn't appear so far, Larry, that he's trying to make any kind of a bid for the lead.
Well, I think he'd like to lead this race, but I think he wants to do it. I think he and everybody else out there are quite aware of the fact the tire situation. They don't want to blister the tire. If he's going to put a little pressure on Morgan, he's going to make Morgan make a little bit of a mistake. He's not going to try to go to the outside. It doesn't look. He's not going to try to slip the tires, sneak in under him. He wants Morgan to make a mistake and make it an easy pass, or he'll just content to ride there in second place.
Cincinnati Millicron, the sponsor on that number 54, as those two leaders, or the leader and second place car right beside each other. Here's a good battle as Rector and Ronnie Sanders are having a run back there. That is a battle for position. Looked like Sanders had to let off a little bit.
Yeah, when Sanders got in under him, he lost all of his momentum, had to get out. The yellow flag is out. Everybody's slowing up on the racetrack. So this will be the second yellow flag of the day. Everybody's pulling up. Will give us a chance to bunch up and get going again.
Well, the 57 car of Harrison is back out on the track. He caused the first yellow of the day today. And a couple of cars that are in the pit area, Ronnie Grindstaff, Jack Morace, and Dale Groves Jr.
Yeah, it looks like the people on the backstretch are moving everybody over. Can't see whether there's debris on the racetrack. Oh, yeah, there's a piece of debris out on the racetrack. They're trying to get everybody to move way out on the racetrack so they can go out and get it. But they're not going to do it as long as those guys are going by.
No doubt. Laughlin runs behind Morgan. Then it's Mario Goslin, Gary Layton, and Chad Chaffin. That's your top five.
Come in. One is Mario Goslin, the other Gary Layton. Unfortunately, they also have to be pitting next to each other, so Gary Layton has to go around them. Plan on Gary Layton's car to just make a two-tire stop. They're only going to go for the two. As for Mario Goslin's car, they want to go with all four. Now, they've gone ahead and they've changed the two tires on the right side. Now they go ahead and make the two tires on the left side. In the last race here, the Hooters Cup race, that Mario Goslin won, they didn't have a lot of yellow flags early on. There was a concern that they weren't going to be able to get as many yellow flags today. That's why, even though it's a little bit early, these guys have decided to come in and make this stop and send him back out on the way. Not as quick as Gary Layton, but he got those four tires.
Well, I don't know, Larry. I'm a little bit surprised to see those guys didn't come in so early. Lap 33 or 32 when they ducked into the pits.
Yeah, that is pretty early, and we see now that Charlie Ford also is in there. He's going to make a pit stop. He waited till rather late in this yellow to do that, so I'm not sure. And it looks like he's only going to make a right rear tire change, so he might have had a tire going down. Otherwise, he would have come in a little earlier, I think.
So Charlie Ford in the 55 car, who was running in the top 10, will go to the pit area. A couple other cars dropping onto pit road as we see the indication from the flagman. 1 lap to go, and we'll be back underway.
We heard Rick say that some of the drivers were concerned that during the Hooters Cup race, there weren't very many yellow flags, and that's the only reason I can think of that Mario Goslin would have come in, put on new tires this early. And a race like this, you cannot expect the tires, I don't think, to go 170 laps. He's probably going to have to come in later and make another tire change, I would think.
You see the Lester Lesneski dove onto the pit road along with Doc McKinney in the number 50, and Lesneski, they were doing a radical change to the right rear suspension, put about 3 or 4 rounds of wedge into that number 6 car. So maybe that'll get them handling a little bit better and get them out there. The leader is Morgan. Laughlin to the outside, Chad Chaffin, and then Marty Wards. That's your top 4 cars, as a few of the lap cars now will go to the inside as we expect the green flag next time around.
And you know, the lap cars are to the inside, and as you take a look, there are not all that many lap cars. I think the quality of the fields in this series have greatly improved over the length of the year. A lot of guys running very well, running with the leaders. We've only got 6 or 7 cars lapped at 30 laps here today.
back underway. The green flag is out. We've had 2 cautions, and we're back to racing here on lap 35.
You can see there's Don Satterfield in the 1 car. He's up there in the top 10. He's given a nice run so far as everybody single file, double file through turn number 1 and get through there very nicely.
Gene Morgan, the leader in the car number 45, and as I said, a couple of poles for him this year, but the most important thing on Morgan's mantle is that victory trophy from USA International Speedway, picking up his first career win just a few weeks back here in the Pro Cup Series.
Well, he's had a pretty good year all year long, but definitely in the last 3 or 4 races, he has come alive. He's been a man to reckon with, and I think that he's got a lot of confidence in himself and in his team right now. As we take a look at the first 4, 5, 6 cars there in your picture, all in the same straightaway.
Folks, you see these race cars out there, they look a lot like NASCAR, Winston Cup cars, Busch Grand National, or ARCA cars. That's because they are. They're full-bodied steel stock cars, 3,400 pounds. Many of these cars are former Winston Cup cars, so you've seen a lot of these cars before. They've got a good run going today here in the AK207. Let's go down to the pit area with Rick DeBrule.
Well, this is Bill Davis on Mario Goslin's crew. Hopefully it's just a minor injury. He was hit, believe it or not, by the pit board as he was going over the wall. Caused a lot of blood, but right now it doesn't look like it's very serious.
Well, I'll tell you, Larry, if we had Dr. Jerry Punch down there instead of Rick DeBrule, he could just give him a couple of stitches and fix him right up.
That's right. He'd have done her all. He knows all that stuff really well. Look at this battle for the lead, though. And I think that Morgan looks to be getting a little bit of a push in that race car. He's heading up the racetrack right in the middle a little bit. Doesn't want to go up there much farther. He's going to open that door wide enough and let Laughlin get by him.
I am really impressed with young Laughlin there. Mike Laughlin out on the racetrack for the first time after that major fire that he had back at Homestead. Good to see him back. Now here is Mario Goslin in the center of your screen there in the Jackaroo number 10 car. Now this has been the guy who's dominated this field throughout the season. 3 consecutive wins. He won at Southampton, Southern National, and Fairground Speedway, and then he backed it up with his 4th win of the year at Orange County Speedway. He has been the man in this series, but right now he's struggling a bit. Here's your top 5. We'll be back with more from Milwaukee after a word from these sponsors. And you're watching the Jackaroo Pro Cup cars as they are racing here. 207 laps the distance as Mario Goslin now is moving up to put a challenge on Marty Ward.
Yes, he's really been on the move since he made that pit stop, and you said he was struggling a little bit, and maybe everybody'd like to struggle like he's struggling right now because he's come from the back up into the top 5 or 6. I think that's his position 5 he just moved into, so he's really been on the move. Those new tires must have helped him.
Well, Larry, I say Mario Goslin's struggling when he's not leading the race. You know, I mean, it's been that kind of a season for him. He has just been a dominant factor in this division. Now, he ran in the Hooters Cup race here, and he won that race. So we asked him earlier today, was running that race going to be a big advantage for the Jackaroo car today?
Well, I think so. You know, the people that have been here before, we're pretty much on the same, playing field. But for somebody that's never been here before, I think, track time makes a big difference here.
And obviously, you know how it works because you just won here.
Yeah, we had a real good car. I hope this car will be as good as the other one was. But we'll just have to take it as it goes. Today's not, it's cloudy. The sun's not out, so it's going to be a different racetrack. We just need to, it's a long race, 200 laps. We just need to get the Jackaroo car handling good for the last 50.
Well, and that Jackaroo car's been awfully good in the last 50 of all the first 8 races we've seen this season.
But they sure have been, and he's really dialed into that last 50 laps. That's what every one of these guys we've talked to today, that's what they've said. We've got to be handled in the last 50. So you go out there, you try different things, you try different lines, you want to run up front. But the main thing is you want to have your best set of tires, your best groove. You want to have yourself dialed in to run that last part of the race, because that's where the race is won.
Well, Mario Goslin has been dominant this season, and to just explain it, all you got to do is look at the laps led chart. 716 laps in 7 different races. Today is the 9th event of this season. After today's race, just 2 events remaining in the title chase for the inaugural season of this Jackaroo division.
Yeah, if he doesn't have trouble today, it's going to make him very, very hard to beat in that championship. If he fell out early, it might give these guys a chance, but otherwise he's going to be pretty tough to beat. As there he goes on the outside, it looked like he's getting another position back there. Meanwhile, back up front, Morgan just hanging on, driving the wheels off that race car. Laughlin's been right on his tail, trying to find a way around him. Hasn't found anything for him.
They start to get into a little bit of lap traffic here at Milwaukee, but look at this, Larry. Look at the distance from our first and second place car back to Chad Chaffin. You don't even see him in the screen. It's almost a full straightaway before you see the green car of Chad Chaffin, number 84.
Yes, he's back there, and right behind him is Mario Goslin. They are probably 3/4 of a straightaway behind right now. Goslin, though, has really been on a tear since he came in and put the new tires on. He has gained a lot of spots. Moves up on Chaffin. Seems like Chaffin had more horsepower down the straightaway, but look at the corner speed that Goslin's got.
Only 35 laps had gone by before they went to the pit area, or 32 or 33 laps, I guess it was. And Goslin put on 4 fresh tires. The 74 car, Gary Layton, only took 2. He put only right sides on, and I think they may have made the wrong decision, because there goes Goslin into 3rd place of this race, and he's going to get by some lap traffic 3 wide. Down the back straightaway. Mario's car is just that much faster, though, and he'll make the pass.
Well, the race car had to be handling awfully well because he pinched that thing really tight. The lap car was actually trying to get out of his way and stay low on the racetrack, and when he did that, he forced Goslin way, way low. Now Chad Chaffin is on the outside going around that lap traffic.
So Chaffin will have to make the move to the outside in the NNS Auto Parts car. That'll cost him a little bit of time, and Mario's car ducks right down to the yellow line on the entry into turn number 1, and boy, he really has the Jackaroo car hooked up, headed for the front, as he has now come back up through the field and moved into 3rd place.
And look at the distance he's put on Chad Chaffin here in just about 1 lap. He has really pulled away from him. He definitely has found something. I think if I were him, I'd be thinking, man, I hope the next set of tires is as good as this set of tires.
Be nice if you could get them to match,
right? That's right.
But that car is really running well. So Chaffin now goes back to 4th spot. But again, we got to talk about pacing yourself. This is a very long race.
Well, and again, you have to be fast the last 50 laps. Chad Chaffin still is in striking distance. He's in the front straightaway, or in the same straightaway with the leaders. So there's nothing wrong with that. You do not have to overextend yourself this early in the race. There's Marty Ward. He's still out there running very well. He's in 5th place, still within striking distance. So I think most of these guys are saying, as long as I run good, I don't blister the tires, I don't do anything silly, then I just want to get to the halfway mark, get that pit stop in, and then we'll think about the last half of the race.
Actually, Larry, looking at the scoring monitor here, they're showing Marty Ward back in 6th place now, as he's racing with Bob Schacht in the number 75. So Schacht running in 5th from Chapin, South Carolina. So his 2nd start in the Pro Cup division, going a lot better than his first one. They had a pretty miserable day back at USA International Speedway. Oh, and one car with smoke coming out of it, coming off of turn number 4.
Well, there is a lot of smoke. That's Donnie Neuenberger, and he's pulled down to the inside of the racetrack. He obviously knows he's got a problem. He's going to try to keep the oil, if there is any, coming out of the exhaust, but that looks like all that is coming out of the exhaust pipes, and that's not a good sign.
Tough break for Donnie. Donnie comes to us from Brandywine, Maryland in the number 14 car. And that looks like it could be terminal for his run today here at Milwaukee.
Yeah, the engine's still running, but boy, it is really puffing a lot of smoke. That's oil smoke, not good, and usually an internal engine problem. Not going to be able to finish, I don't think.
Donnie's off the pace and will head to the pits, but so far, no yellow here. Doesn't appear that he's put anything down on the racetrack. We'll wait and see if any of the drivers communicate back with the officials. Yep, and the yellow is now out, so they want to check the racetrack. So the 3rd caution of the day comes out for Donnie Neuenberger in number 14.
Yeah, well, Neuenberger went through turns 3 and 4 up above the yellow line, and I think that was why. They didn't want to take the chance of somebody running in there right in the groove, hitting that and spinning, causing a big crash. So they decided to throw the yellow, have a look at the racetrack, which was a smart move.
Well, the yellow's out for the 3rd time here in the AK207. We'll be back with more of the Jackaroo Pro Cup Series after this. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ray Dunlap, Larry Rice, and Rick DeBrule bringing you the action from the Jackaroo Pro Cup Series. Under caution for 3 times today, but the green is back out and we're underway.
And you can see there's been a shakeup up at the front as we had some pit stops while you were gone. Restart on lap 63 shows that Lee Tissett now out in front of this field, and the 6th car of Lester Lesnaski now in 2nd place.
Oh, so a lot of positions changed there as we were in break. Tissett out front in the number 47 car. Coming into this race, he had only led 9 laps in the first 8 races of the season, so Lee's got to be pretty happy about being back up front.
Well, all the leaders, Chad Chaffin, Laughlin, Morgan, all those guys made pit stops during that yellow flag, so that put them a little bit behind the 8 ball. There you see Laughlin. He's now moving back up through the field, but it did put him back a little ways.
Tissot, of course, led back at Southern National Speedway, one of his best races of the season. Had a pretty strong car there. Back on board with Robin Caldwell in the Turner's Restaurants, number 35, and Caldwell gets sung way up to the outside, and Russ Galindo is going to take a look to the inside. Down the front straightaway, it's a drag race.
And Laughlin on the inside of him. They're going to enter turn 1, 3 abreast as Laughlin gets by both of them going into turn 1.
Tim Edwards on the pit road in car number 12 as the action continues on the track. Outside, it's Caldwell kind of hung out there, but here comes Layton in the 74. He's going to try to make that outside groove continue to work.
Yeah, Layton's moving back up too towards the front. That's Mario Goslin. He's back in that battle behind those guys. So a lot of pit stops put these guys deep in the field. They're having to battle hard to get back up through the cars that were running a little farther back in the pack earlier.
47 of Tissot, your leader. Here goes Lesneski. He must have seen a few of those cars using that outside groove because he tries it a little bit there, but Diamond's off the corner. Didn't seem to work for him that time as Lee Tissot is out front of this race.
Well, Lee Tissot doing a nice job. He has held on to this ever since the green flag has fallen on lap 65, and he's still running out front. Nothing that Lesneski can do with him right now, and he's been trying for the last 2 or 3 laps. But Laughlin now has moved into 3rd. That could be a big problem for both those guys.
Absolutely. Lee Tissot from Arden, North Carolina, having a good run today here at Milwaukee, but only time will tell if he's able to hold off those front couple of cars. Gene Morgan's been so strong today, and so has Mike Laughlin. But look at this, 3 wide down the back straightaway. Mickey Hudspeth goes to the outside, and Mario Goslin makes a bold move to the inside of the Tampico Citrus Punch car. And I think Gary Layton said, man, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I don't think Gary Layton was expecting that move to the inside. Hudspeth, he was just kind of hanging on the outside. He knew he was outmanned, and he was going to be the loser in that battle if he tried to fight with him too hard. So he just kind of let off the throttle, let him go on by, and gathered himself up.
The 75 car of Bob Schacht right in there in the thick of things. Oh, and Charlie Ford gets sideways down in the center of the turn in the number 55 car, and the yellow is going to come out for that one.
Yeah, let's see if we can take a look and see exactly what happens. He got in there. Oh, they got together. He and the 92 car of Brad Means get together down there. Means kind of hits him in the side, slides him up the racetrack.
And right behind him was the number 84 of Chad Chaffin.
Charlie Ford brings the number 55 in. They're going to go ahead and do left side tires because you can see that's where the damage was on his particular car. Now, if we swing around, look up pit lane, that is Brad Means' car. They have a little more work to do on the front. They got body damage they have to take care of to get him back out in this race. Meanwhile, back here at Charlie Ford's car, they've got the left side tires on. They don't seem to have any damage that they have to really repair, so they're going to get him back out of the race. A lot longer stop for Brad Means as they go to work on that front body work, trying to pull it off.
Well, thank you, Rick. We are 1/3 of the way through this AK207. The current leader, Lee Tissot. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Milwaukee under the 4th caution of the day here as Charlie Ford and Brad Means made contact down in turns 1 and 2. Ready to go back to racing. Lee Tissot and Lester Lesneski out front. But look at this, to the outside with a great restart goes Mike Laughlin down to the inside. Tissot will hold the line as we're back underway on lap 72.
And look at Mario Goslin. He's on the outside. He's moved into 3rd spot. Lee Tissot pulled down on that straightaway trying to keep Lesneski behind him. When he did, he must have lost a little bit of momentum and let those next 2 guys get by. Now that he's under a heavy challenge. Oh, look at Goslin. He's on the inside of Laughlin. He just pulled right to the bottom of the racetrack, and it looks like he's maybe going to get that thing pulled off before he gets back down to turn 1.
Mario Goslin is unbelievable in that Jackaroo car. He has dominated this season, and he's trying to push his way back to the front as he does a little paint rubbing with Mike Laughlin. Coming out of turn number 2, Mario dashes up to 2nd place. Now, the big loser in that restart was Lesneski, as he did not come up to speed very quickly, although he still hangs there in the top 5. But look at Mario now pulling away from 3rd place and trying to go for the lead down the front straightaway. Can he take that position from Lee Tissett? Yes, he does.
Well, there is no doubt that Mario Goslin is the fastest car on the racetrack right now. He has just blown by. He started that race in 4th position. He blew by those other 3 guys in about a lap and a half, and now pulled out into a 6th or 7th car length lead. Laughlin trying to move into 2nd spot, trying to hold on, or trying to move into 2nd spot. Can't do that right now, but Goslin is just on fire. He is fast right now.
Look at this, all the way back through the field, and in 12th position is Gene Morgan, who led the early stages of this race, had the dominant car, but he is having trouble working his way back through the traffic.
Well, after the pit stop, he never, I don't know whether they changed tires, changed stagger, whatever they did, it didn't work quite as well because he has not been able to move his way back up through the pack nearly as well as some of the other cars have been. So it's been a tough break for him to make that pit stop, and obviously whatever they did on the pit stop, they'll change it next time they get a chance under a yellow.
207 laps the distance. We kind of figured that a lot of these guys would try to get to lap 80 or lap 100 before we would see tire changing, but that has not been the case. A lot of guys been in the pits, and including this guy, Mario Goslin, who went in for 4 tires on lap 32. And boy, those tires have seemed to really make the difference because that got that chassis dialed in. Marty Ward now running in 8th, and he's moving his way back up.
Now there's Chad Chaffin right behind him, so these guys moving their way back towards the front of the field. But they were ways back in the field as well after their pit stops and didn't get through there nearly as quickly as some of the other guys like Laughlin and Goslin.
Now you saw the 06 car on the racetrack, Larry. That is Jack Morace, and he came back out. His goal was to run 2 additional laps on the racetrack. Both of those, he and Ronnie Grindstaff have been sitting in the pits most of this race, but they were both marked as only completing 13 laps. And Morace said, I got to get out there and get a couple more laps so I can gain a position on him and take a few more points. So Morace back out for a few laps.
And there goes Chad Chaffin around Marty Ward. He just moved down to the inside, going through 3 and 4. Tucked the race car down, and he's moved into 8th. But there's Gene Morgan. He's the 4th car on your screen back there, and he's moved up another spot or 2.
He's got to move his way around Jerry Rector from Fountain Inn, South Carolina, in that Red's Grill number 77. That's his next target. Doesn't appear he's catching him at any rapid rate, but at least we see Morgan now. We know he is on his way back towards the front.
Yeah, he's still running pretty fast. You know, everything is relative. We talk about him not being nearly as good, but you got a bunch of fast race cars up there. I think the thing that makes him look a little worse than he really is the fact that Mario Goslin is just so doggone hooked up and is moving by guys so easily. It makes everybody else look like they're not running all that quickly. And in fact, they are running quick. It's just he's running that much quicker.
Well, Morgan's car now closes up on the back bumper of the 77. He'll make a challenge this time. Back down the back straightaway. Looks like Morgan's going to make a bid for that position and give it to him. So the 45 now passes Jerry Rector and takes another position on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's moved into the top 10 now, so he's slowly but surely working his way back towards the front. And come the end of the race, I wouldn't be surprised to see him up there battling again.
Gene Morgan, a good car. Valenite, the main sponsor on that number 45, won the pole today here and had a strong car in the early stages. Looks like he's still pretty good, but you're right. Goslin is checking out.
Goslin is just so fast right at this point of the race. As I said just a little bit earlier, I think he's probably wishing that those tires were going to be the ones, and he may run those the rest of the race, but he's going to have to run them about 140 laps if he does, and that might be a bit of a stretch.
Marty Ward in the number 97 car, the Hooters car. Folks, if you haven't seen a lot of this Jackaroo Pro Cup racing coming into the season this year, we really thought that Marty Ward would be a lock for the championship this season. Last year, they ran 3 exhibition races in this division, and he won all 3 of them. We just figured he would dominate this year, but we picked the wrong car because up to this point, it has been the 10 car really showing the way most of the season and not the 97.
Well, Marty Ward hasn't had all that bad a year when he can finish races. He's run pretty well when he can finish, but he's had a lot of bad luck, had a lot of DNFs, and that's what really has been his problem. But Gene Morgan just picked him off, moved up another spot as he's soldiering to the front instead of charging to the front, I guess. 531
points separates Marty Ward and the point leader coming into today's race, Mario Goslin. And as we said at the top of the show, all the guys in this field are praying that Mario will have some bad luck today, because it is, folks, a double points race. So double the amount of points that they normally get today. So this is a very important race in the chase for the 1997 Jackaroo Pro Cup Championship.
There's Gary Layton. He's now working on Lee Tissett. Tissett still running pretty good up there, but 2 or 3 guys already around him. Now then, Gary Layton moving right up on his tailpipe. He's trying to find that little move off of turn 4, which so many guys have used, where they just kind of tuck the nose in under coming off, get the bump or the front bumper up alongside up and going into 1 and go on by, going through turns 1 and 2.
Larry, I said just a little bit ago that Lee Tissett had only led 9 laps coming into this race. Well, already today he's been up front for 17 laps. What's that do to your mental status as a driver?
Well, it gives you a lot of confidence. You know, he's had some pretty good runs. He's run up near the front. He hasn't led a lot of laps, but that whole team has steadily gained this whole year long. He's only rookie, so he's got a long time to race yet. But he knows that with every lap he leads, and especially on a mile racetrack, which he's very unaccustomed to running, then he knows that he can run with the big guys, he can lead the big guys, and someday he can beat the big guys.
Well, you see Gary Layton there waving his hand to Lee Tissett, and the yellow is out once again. It appears that it's for the 79 car of David Craddock.
Yeah, Craddock's going to pull in on the back straightaway, pull off. He's obviously got some sort of a major problem, so he's pulled off back there.
Mario Goslin is the leader of the AK-207, and we'll be back to Milwaukee after this.
Brad Means brings the number 92 in. This is the longest track they race on all year long. As a result, the aerodynamics do make a bit of a difference. They're going to go ahead and put the nose clip back on. The way the front end was exposed before, it was just catching the air. It was causing way too much problem. So they go ahead and see if they can't fit this thing back on. The big problem is, how long is it going to take to do this? Once again, they're only going to get the time that it takes for all the rest of the cars to go around and come back on. But they're trying to attach it underneath, see if they can do as good a job as they can. It's one thing to put it on, it's another thing to put it on in such a way that it's going to withstand the speed that they're going to have to go and the abuse that it's going to have to take. Put a little racer's tape. They've got it attached underneath. They've literally got some bungee cords that are going over the top as well. Now the racer's tape goes on, and now the big question comes down to, can they get it done before the pace car comes around? The pace car isn't quite here yet. They seem to be getting a decent job of it done, but it still goes back to it. It's one thing to put it on. It's another thing to put it on enough to stay. I see the pace car on the front straightaway. Now they got to get him back out. They may bring him back in again if they have to, but they've got to get him back out there so he does not lose another lap.
Guys saying, go, 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 go. Hurry up, get out of here. We don't want to lose another lap. So Brad gets off the pit road as we continue under caution here. The 5th yellow of the day as David Craddock's engine let go in the number 79. David coming from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Yeah, so you can see everybody's still motoring around there. We didn't have so many guys in the pits this time because it hasn't been that long. Only been about 20, 25 laps since the last caution flag. A lot of guys are going to stay out there, keep their track position. As there you see that Brad Means has come around. He's going to try to move up to the front. He might get right up next to the pace car and duck in one more time, I would guess, but he's going to go ahead and get up there as close to that pace car as he can.
Well, we see all the cars that are still on the racetrack, Larry. David Craddock is being shown in 27th finish position right now, as there are only 6 cars out of the race. So still an awful lot of traffic out there for these leaders to deal with.
Lots and lots of race cars out there, and lots of guys running very, very well. There you take a look at Lester Lesniewski. He's had a pretty good run today. He's been running up near the front, at least in the last 50 laps or so. He's been running up there. A lot of guys, though, very equal in their times. I'm very surprised at the equality on this mile. We thought the horsepower would make a much bigger difference than it has.
So Brad Means will head back to the pits for one more little patch on the front end. That thing doesn't look too good, but I'll bet it'll handle a lot better than it did without that nose cone on there.
The aerodynamics on a racetrack of this size are just so very important. You've got to have that air dam up front. You've got to have all that stuff up there to deflect that air. Now they've got some patches made up. They're going to put it back up there, trying to make sure that that thing stays on there. But once you get that thing completely knocked off, like that one was, very difficult to make tape, make it stay on there and do the right job.
Well, they got enough tape on there. If that doesn't hold it, nothing's going to, that's for sure. The lights are out on the pace car as we're ready to go back to racing in the AK-207. And Larry, this race being named in honor of the great Alan Kowicki, the 1992 Winston Cup champion. And when you say his name around these parts, it means a lot.
Boy, you want to say it very nicely, because there's not a person in this part of the country that doesn't think the world of Alan Kulwicki. He was a great guy. He was a great organizer. He was a great mechanic. He was a great driver. He did everything well, and he was a loner. He did it all by himself, and I think that's the most amazing part.
The Underbird, the name of his championship car. Mighty Mouse, of course, his mascot, and he was a mighty race car driver. And many of the people in this field are aspiring to do just what Alan Kulwicki did, and that is make it to Winston Cup. Mario Goslin certainly looks like he would be one of the first guys that would get picked if you had to go on his record of 1997.
Sure did. Mike Laughlin got a great jump off of turn number 4, got up alongside of Mario Goslin, but boy, Goslin just drove it so far into turn 1, he had to just fall in behind him, pull in underneath him, because Goslin was not going to let him go by. Look how much faster Goslin is right through the middle of the corner. That's where he's really making up his time.
He sure is. Mike Laughlin running in second place. We've talked about it a couple times today, but just an unbelievable story that he is back in the race car, and he is really showing his stuff today here as he runs second. And then Gary Layton in the Tampico Citrus Punch number 74 right there, the yellow car, runs in third. Don't count out Chad Chaffin. He's pretty strong here. We move back through the pack a little bit. Some passing going on down the back straightaway. Doc McKinney in the 50 making a move there.
Yeah, Robin Caldwell was in that group too. So a lot of guys running very well. Gary Layton, though, I think he's back on the move. Remember at the first of the race, he moved back a little bit. Didn't seem to be working all that well. Still running the high side of the racetrack, though. Still runs right a lot higher than anybody else, at least through turns 1 and 2. But he is running a little faster, a little more competitively with the front runners than he was earlier.
2 wins in 1997 for Chad Chaffin, but he's got a way to go if he's going to make it to the front today. Welcome back to Milwaukee. The racing continues here in the AK207, and we have got a battle for the lead as the number 54 car is all over Mario Goslin. Look at Mike Laughlin. Boy, what a day he's having, Larry.
Mike Laughlin suddenly on this very, very long green flag run seems to have gotten his act together, and he's getting off of the corners extremely well. Goslin's still driving deeper into the corners, getting through the middle, but look how strong he gets off the corner, and because he gets off so well, he gets a lot of momentum down the straightaway. And look at Goslin. He's running over the racetrack there, trying to keep, oh, late touch right there. Laughlin had to get out of the throttle as it looked like he touched him.
And Larry, I think that the spotter was saying to Mike Laughlin, you really need to lead that lap because it was the halfway, and Royal Purple Lubricants pays $1,000, and that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, and Laughlin gave it everything he had, but Goslin obviously knew too that was the money, the lap that paid all the money, and he wasn't going to let him round that lap.
Well, Mario takes the bonus bucks, and this time by Laughlin's going to look to the outside again and down the front straightaway. He got the lead that time by 1 lap too late.
And you can tell when there's not $1,000 at stake, it doesn't make nearly as much difference whether he goes around or not. As Goslin pulled down to the inside and said, well, if he can do it this time, he can just go.
6 different drivers have led at the halfway point in 1997, and here is Laughlin taking that position, coming down the front straightaway, and he goes into the lead.
He certainly does, and you can see he got in there and he got that back end out just a little bit. Now, he doesn't want to do that a lot. We've talked before about the number of tires that they get. Now, they have allowed them to have 2 extra tires for this race. They were going to allow them to have 12, but again, they've allowed them to have 2 more because of the fact that the tires are wearing very heavily. Some of them are blistering, so they decided to let them have an extra set of, or extra 2 tires for this race.
Well, Larry, they ran the late model race here, and they decided to add the tires, and at that point, I was pretty sure they would have to do that here because these cars are quite a bit heavier.
Sure, these cars are almost 1,000 pounds heavier, so they're going to be a little bit harder on the tires than the late models were, so it only makes sense that that was a good move on the part of the officials, I think.
So Mario Goslin has been out front for 29 laps. Lee Tissett led this race. We've seen Gene Morgan. He was strong first. He led the first 58 laps, and now Mike Laughlin goes into the front.
And Gene Morgan now up to 4th. He's right behind Gary Layton. And again, he has not moved up rapidly, but very steadily he has just moved forward, 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 and now he's putting himself back in a position to be in the, in the chase. Here come the end of the race.
And that's what it's all about, is be there when they throw the checkered flag.
Right now, it looks like he's trying to sneak down under Gary Layton. Layton has run that high groove all day long. It's been very successful for him. but it sure opens up that bottom for other people to go by, but he's not going to do it in traffic like this.
Leighton said he liked the big high-banked super speedways. I think he's learning to like this short track, or flat track, I should say. Even though it's a mile in length, he's running pretty good.
Oh, he certainly is, and he adapted very well to it. He said that he wasn't sure he could adapt well to this racetrack, but of course, they have a great crew chief, so everything has come together for him. He's run very well here today. Gene Morgan, though, looks to be just a tad faster right now.
So Gene Morgan was out front at the start of this race, then went in for a pit stop, at a very slow pit stop, got out and got put towards the middle pack, and now he's climbing his way back up. So Morgan's car really coming on strong here as he has moved up to give a challenge to Leighton. But I am so impressed, Larry, with Mike Laughlin. I know I've said that a lot, but what a great run for this kid today.
Well, it's got to do a lot for his confidence to be able to come back here and be this strong in this kind of a series, because when you come off of any kind of an accident, I don't care who you are or what you're driving, it's always got to be on your mind just a little bit.
Laughlin, with very limited experience in the Busch South division, had that fire and was out for quite a while, but now he's the leader of the AK-207. More racing from Milwaukee in just a moment. Back at Milwaukee in the AK-207, this race and two more following this race will be the end of the season, and Mario Goslin is slowing down the front straightaway, or Gary Leighton speeding up because he makes a move to the outside, and it looks like Leighton once again is going to try that outside groove.
Well, Mario Goslin has just kind of lost the handle. I think maybe the tires are getting a little older, and on his real long green flag run, it's just not quite as fast as it was earlier in the race. He's still running the wheels off of it. You can see he's driving it in there as deep as he can drive, try to hold those guys off. But now he looks like he and Gene Morgan, Leighton and Gene Morgan, are both going to get around him, and you can see coming off of the corners, he's running very low off the corners. He's not letting that thing drift up. It's just not handling as well as it was earlier.
Well, Goslin has been so good when he's out front, but that is when his tires are fresh. I mean, he came in on lap 33. I was very surprised, so maybe that car's not handling very well whenever they get a long green flag run.
Well, yeah, I think that the longer they run, the worse it seems to be. He's very fast for the first 20 laps or so, and they've been on a green flag stint now for 35 or 40 laps, so it obviously is not as good on the long green flags as, say, Gene Morgan and Gary Leighton, and especially Laughlin. He's really pulled that into a nice lead right now.
Well, at this point, I think Leighton and Morgan in the 45 and Goslin all have to be concerned with letting that leader get away, because Laughlin has really opened up a big lead on these guys. Wouldn't that be an incredible finish to this race to see Mike Laughlin come back after those terrible injuries from that fire at Homestead, get back in a race car and come out and win on his very first start?
Yes, and he certainly looks strong at this point in the race. He seems to have everything in hand. They've chosen the right tires. Tires and stagger are very, very important, as is pit strategy on a racetrack like this, where it is so hard on the tires. Obviously, they found a set of tires that they're really happy with. Now the thing is, they're probably going to have to put on one more set at least before the end of the race, and cross their fingers that they get the right stagger and the right air pressure when they put those on.
Well, one of the things I think that Mike has in his favor, although it is a disadvantage for his lap times because he hasn't been out, or the number of laps that he's made in this type of race car really aren't that many, but he understands the chassis so well because they build chassis, and understanding the chassis on a race car like this is pretty important, especially on a flat track.
Understanding the chassis, being able to communicate what you're feeling to your crew are very, very essential on any kind of a racetrack, but the faster the racetrack, the more important it is, because you cannot horse a race car around. You can't manhandle it around the racetrack on the faster racetracks, and the faster you go, the more true that is. So the better you communicate what the problems are and how to fix those problems, the better off you are. Obviously, he's done a great job of that. Gary Leighton, Gene Morgan, who, we said fell way back there and didn't look like he was going all that far up, is also doing very well. As we see Mickey Hudspeth now, he's pulled into the pit area. Tough break for Mickey.
The number 26 car with the race fan sponsorship on it gone to the pits. And as Mickey Hudspeth goes away, we're going to go away for another break, and we'll be back. Mike Laughlin continues to lead. Continuing in a long green flag run here at Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Gene Morgan's car starting to come together. as he and Charlie Ford now making a move on the 74 of Gary Layton. You're watching the Jackaroo Pro Cup cars here at Milwaukee in their 9th event of 1997.
And Gene Morgan certainly seems to be running a lot better. The longer the green flag run, the better his car seems to be handling. He and Mike Laughlin are two of the guys probably are very happy, don't want to see another yellow flag. Whereas Gary Layton and I'm sure Mario Goslin, he's sitting back there saying, man, I hope that yellow comes out pretty soon.
Well, Goslin would love to go to the pits right now and get some more fresh tires on that car. And we see so many of these guys being forced to the high side now, and that will wear out your tires more.
Yeah, and Lee Tissett has made a pit stop. It looks like it's the fuel stop. They're not going to change any tires. He led for quite a while. They got to put enough fuel in there. He obviously did not have enough fuel to go very much farther, or else they would not have come under the green flag.
The Taylor Land and Cattle Company, number 47, Lee Tissett, hits the pits. Well, we're just sitting here wondering to ourselves, when will the rest of the guys pit? We got a long green flag run here, and if Lee Tissett needed some gas, I got to be wondering what the rest of the guys are doing down there. I mean, Mike Laughlin is really stretching it out here, but how long can the tires go? That's got to be the good question. So let's head back down to the pits right now to Rick DeBrule and find out from Mike's crew chief.
Well, Greg Warren, Mike Laughlin's crew chief, and you say right now the car's going a little slower, but you like it.
Yeah, the Millicron car's really doing good, and Mike Jr. is doing one heck of a job out there driving it. The tires are doing good for us. The car's pretty neutral right now. We're just trying to figure out some way we can do some in-flight refueling, but I don't think that'll work.
How much longer can you go without having to stop?
Probably about another 30, 40 laps.
Well, you said you'd love to run the rest of the race on these tires.
Yeah, these tires would go all the way unless everybody else comes in. I mean, if other people put tires on, obviously we're going to have to, but right now our tires are doing good compared to the wear everybody else has.
Well, he obviously does not want to see another yellow flag. He'd like to stop, get a splash of fuel, and go to the end because they've got a great set of tires, which means the race car has to be set up very well. They've got a nice setup on it. They've got the right stagger. They've got a good set of tires. So he and Gene Morgan probably would like to see this thing go green. Everybody else, though, waits on a yellow flag so they can come in and change tires. If the yellow does come out, they will have to change tires, and then you always take the chance that the next set of tires won't be quite as perfect as this set. So that's the dilemma they're in right now.
You know, Larry, it always surprises me that the crew chiefs know so much about what everybody else's car is doing. He said, our wear is a lot better than everybody else. They know what the other guys are getting.
Exactly, and that's part of their job. They look around, they go up and down the pit line to see whose tires are blistering, who's wearing out the right rears, who's wearing out the right fronts, who's pushing and so forth, and that's part of the job of the crew chief. As we see Joe Harrison, he's going to come in under the green and take on right side tires as well as fuel.
Well, Gene Morgan's car was unbelievably strong in the first 50 laps of this race, and he and that guy, Mike Laughlin, ran side by side and right beside each other for quite a few laps. And look here, Mario continues to slip on the racetrack as he's falling back more and more.
He is struggling big time. He wants a yellow in the worst way, but he doesn't want one bad enough to call it. Gene Morgan is coming in under green, so he was low on fuel, obviously. He's probably only going to take on fuel and get back out there and not lose the lead, the lead lap.
Well, Gene Morgan pitted the last time around lap 46 and has not been in. And look at this, Don Satterfield is out of fuel in the Hawk Brakes #1. So unreal, and the yellow flag comes out as Morgan is stuck on the pit road.
Well, he got back out just in time. I don't think he lost the lap. He got back out very quickly. Probably they saw that yellow coming out and went back out ahead of time.
So Morgan may have gotten the break of the race. 150 laps down, 57 to go.
Well, this is the yellow flag that all these guys had been praying for, doing their yellow flag dance all this afternoon. Now the race is going to come into the pits. They've all come in. The question is who can come out the fastest. Even Gene Morgan, as you see, he's at the front of the pack. He's been able to get back in. Let's start working our way back. We can talk about the fact that Gary Layton, he's in the second spot. Work your way back. You'll see Mario Goslin and everybody else back behind him. Now the big question is who can get out first. We're going to have a lot of tire changes. Most of the teams are going to go ahead and make 4 tire changes. They want this to be their very last pit stop of the day, which means long pit stops right now. But at the same time, now Gary Layton, first one to get out. He wins the pit stop competition, you might say. He gets out first. Now, you see Gene Morgan's car. They're working on his car. In the meantime, he's getting outspent a little bit. You've also got Mike Laughlin, Mario Goslin, Marty Ward all getting out. Meanwhile, they've got to redo the left side of Gene Morgan's car, so he's going to take a little longer, and Chad Chaffin goes by on the outside.
Well, that's a tough break for Gene Morgan as they pulled that left front off again to see if they can fix whatever the problem is in there. Let's go down to Rick and see if we can find out what it is.
All right, the story on Gene Morgan's car, apparently they had a stud break on the car, on the left front. That's why they're having the problem. They've gone ahead and changed that out, but as with the new tire back on, minus one of the studs. There's not much they can do. Oh, and as you see, he's pulling away before his jackman's even done.
Oh, and Larry, he almost went a lap down there. The stop-and-go guy still had the go sign out, but boy, was that close.
That was extremely close, and you saw him pulling off of the jack while he was still in the air. That's why. He knew where that pace car was, and he had desperately to get back out in front of him, so he just pulled off the jack and got going, and it was very, very close.
See the 77 car, Charlie Ford in the 55, Bob Schacht in the 75, Brad Means, a whole bunch of cars still on pit road as the lap down cars go in one lap later after the lead lap cars do, so they're getting their service, and we see the lights are going out on the pace car now, so we're about ready to go back to racing.
And Gary Layton won the pit stop contest. He got in and out before everybody else, so he is going to be the leader when the green flag comes back out. Mike Laughlin now running in second position. They had a very good pit stop as well. Mario Goslin, who was way back, he had lost a lot of time. Now then, due to a good pit stop, he's back up in third spot with Marty Ward behind him.
So we see all those cars that were a lap down that have gone to the pits are back out on the track now. They'll line up on the inside. And you're right, Layton won the race off of pit road, but all of these cars on that outside line took on 4 tires, so they should have pretty good handling race cars for this last 50 laps.
Right. Gene Morgan, obviously the big loser, as he's going to be clear at the end of that lead lap line. Have a lot of cars to go past. We've seen him do it before, but it's going to be a little more difficult here this late in the race.
So Mike Laughlin continues to have a very, very strong run as he is second right behind the number 74 Tampico Citrus Punch Chevrolet of Gary Layton. The third car in line is Mario Goslin, then Marty Ward, and Chad Chaffin still back there. Gene Morgan, we can see them all down the front straightaway. The green is out.
The green is out, and Layton leads them back into turn 1. Mike Laughlin right behind him. Oh, big crash. That's Mario Goslin right in the middle of that thing. Robin Caldwell against the fence down on the inside. A couple of guys who've been up front all race long involved right in the middle of that crash.
Take a look from the onboard camera, and Mario just came down very low on the inside, and Robin Caldwell has nowhere to go, and he slides to the inside, and heavy contact to that inside retaining wall.
Well, you can see Goslin, he hits another car up the racetrack, both of those guys with heavy damage. So let's go down to the pits with Rick.
Mario Goslin brings the number 10 car sliding to a stop. You can see the damage to the left front. Now the question is it more than just body damage? Now this is what they were hoping for, everybody else, but we see some water coming out the front. This could be more terminal. This is what all the other teams have been hoping for. Nothing to happen to Mario in terms of personal problems, but they definitely needed Mario to have a problem for everybody to get back into the points race. This is a double points race. If for some reason he can't finish this, they are going to lose some serious points in terms of that advantage they've got. But I got to tell you something. Gary Layton's team, as soon as they saw that he had problems on the front end, there was some question. One of the guys from Gary Layton's team came over and said, "You guys need some sheet metal." He went into their Tampico truck, got some aluminum out, brought it over so that they could use it on the front end of this if they had to do that. So even though they are in the thick of the points championship battle, they still had the team relationship that they were willing to go do what it took. Now, once again, they've got fluid leaking out the front. They're trying to see what they can't do to repair it. Hopefully, for Mario Goslin, this is not terminal, but there's no question he is losing very important laps. They can't send him back. This is not one of the situations where they can do a quick repair, send him back out, and then get him back in again each time the pace car comes by. He has some serious problems that's going to take a little time to repair.
Well, there may be a wrinkle in the cape for Super Mario. We'll see if he's able to get back in the race. Gary Layton is the leader. Welcome back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Ray Dunlap, Larry Rice, and Rick DeBrule bringing you the AK-207 for the Jackaroo Pro Cup Division. We're under caution for the 7th time today as a major pileup down in turn number 1 has hampered the championship run of Mario Goslin. Now, we don't know if he's going to be able to get back in the race, but we are about to go back to green, and he has lost a number of laps sitting on the pits. Gary Layton will be listed as the leader, and ironically, Larry, he's second in the points.
Yeah, so this is a big, big break for Gary Layton, leading the points, having Mario Goslin sat there dejectedly in the pit area watching these guys go by. And Layton now, more than ever, would want to win this race and hold off Mike Laughlin, who seems to be very, very strong at the late stages of this race.
Gary Layton has won a lot of late model races. He's won on the super speedways. He won the ARCA race at Charlotte earlier this year, but he has never won in the Jackaroo Pro Cup division. Will today be his day? I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
I guess we will. Right now, he looks very strong. He and Laughlin both seem to be really in command of things right now. Marty Ward running in third has fallen back several car lengths. Gene Morgan, as you saw him pass by there, has moved up several positions, and he's challenging to get back in that top 5. So he also looks very strong.
Whoa, and some wild action going down the back straightaway as they're going every which way, in and out of lap cars back there. See Lester Lesneski running along in that group. Back to the leader now. There's some pressure coming on to Layton from Mike Laughlin.
Well, Mike Laughlin seems to run better after a few green flag laps. He did not get a very good restart, but boy, after 3 or 4 or 5 laps, those tires get warmed up. He seems to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Now he's mounting a real challenge. Tries to pinch down under Layton. Can't do it coming off. Has to dive out to the outside or float out the outside and try to get another run on him through 3 and 4.
Cincinnati Millicron, the sponsor on Mike Laughlin's car. A fabulous race for this youngster today. Gary Layton is the leader. And I'll tell you, Larry, when you look back at 1997 in the points, you can see why Mario Goslin is up front with all those wins. But one of the impressive statistics that he has posted this year is that in the first 8 races of this season, he's finished 98.1% of the laps. Now, that's the way to win a championship. But right now, he sits on pit road.
There's absolutely no question that that'll win you a championship as long as you're running well every time, and it's why he's out in the lead. Right now, though, Laughlin has gotten around Layton, and he does it by going very quickly off of turn 4. That seems to be the strongest point on the racetrack for him. He gets through the middle and off down there much quicker than anybody else.
Well, Rick, is Mario going to get back in the race?
Just want to give you a quick update on Mario Goslin's car. Crew's still working on it. Once again, their goal is to get him back out to get a few more points if they can. And if he gets it, boy, the crew deserves the credit for that. They have worked so hard getting the new radiator in, doing all the work they have to do. This is the kind of thing that would normally take quite some time. And once again, just a moment ago, I saw Gary Layton's crew coming over, handing these guys some water to put in the radiator. The teamwork continuing going on between the different teams. Mario wants to get back out, though, and get whatever points he can.
Well, folks, Gary Layton would love to win this race today, and everybody would like to see Mario Goslin lose some points to make this a great championship battle. But these guys work together every week, and most of them become very good friends. That's a good gesture for Gary's team to go over there and try to help them out.
Well, I think that's the wonderful thing about motorsports. Everybody is usually willing to help any of their competitors. They want to beat you, but they want to beat you on the racetrack with you running at your best. That's what it's all about. It's no good to go out there and win when you have a truly great advantage on everybody else, although sometimes you see guys you don't think feel that way.
The number 84 car, Chad Chaffin, is back in the thick of it. He runs third to Gary Layton, and Mike Laughlin will be back after this. Back at Milwaukee in the AK-207, Chad Chaffin putting some pressure on Gary Layton. This all happening for second place on the racetrack. And look at this. The Jackaroo Chevrolet of Mario Goslin is back on the racetrack.
Well, he lost 25 or 30 laps in there, but he's going to go out and get as many points as he can. I told you earlier that anybody that's in the points running, they may spend some time in the pits, but they're going to try to get fixed, go back out, get as many laps in as they can. As Chad Chaffin has gotten around Gary Layton, it seems to me that he probably has gotten the right setup. He's kind of struggled the whole race long, running back there in about 5th spot. Suddenly, he's got the tire combination figured out, the tire pressures figured out, and he is up to second place and running pretty fast right now.
After those 6 or 7 leaders came into the pits, Chaffin was actually the 5th or 6th car to get off pit road, and I am absolutely amazed that they were able to get Mario Goslin's car back in the race.
Well, Mario Goslin is back in the race, minus his radiator. We'll show you why. It's not very big, but that's the hole right there that caused the fluid to come out, the water to come out. As a result, they had to change this whole unit out. crew did a record time. Now he's back out searching for points.
Larry, all the bigger that hole is, looked like they could have put a piece of bubble gum in there and fixed that one.
Yeah, but there was a lot of water on the pit road when he came in, so it's a tough break for him. He's just going to go out there and kind of struggle along, do the best he can. But one guy that's not struggling right now is Chad Chapman. He's on the move. He's moving towards the front. And I think he's got that race car finally where he wants it after battling with it all day long.
Well, I see some smoke coming out of the tailpipes there of Mario Gosselin's number 10 car. So I'm wondering if maybe they overheated that car while they sat on pit road while they were trying to make up that decision of what to do. Could be a really tough break for him as he is running way back in the pack right now, as you said, 30 or 40 laps down.
And look at Chad Chapman. He's right on the back bumper of Mike Laughlin. Laughlin got a little bit loose coming off that corner. I thought Chapman was going to run right into him. He didn't. He got out of the throttle in time, but he really came up on him right through the middle of the corner. We've talked all day how important the middle of the corner is at a place like Milwaukee where it's so flat. And Chad Chapman has got the setup right now to get through the middle of that corner.
Well, Larry, it goes right back to how many times we've talked about adjustability throughout the course of a long race like this. I mean, they've just worked on that race car.
They've worked on it. They've tried different things. And as we said, the last 50 laps are the important 50 laps. And it looks like he's worked on it until he's got it absolutely right now. And it looks like Laughlin, on the other hand, long green flags were his forte earlier. They really were good for him, but now that it looks like he might be getting just a little bit loose out there, and that's not a good sign. Oh, well, look at Layton.
That's talking about loose. Now, Gary Layton really got loose going down into turn 3 and 4.
He did a nice job just to hang on to that thing. He got way up there. He could have chased it up the racetrack and kept it underneath him, but boy, he got so high. Lucky when you're out there in those marbles like that, he did not get into the fence.
So Gary Layton avoids a very serious moment here at Milwaukee as we're in the late stages of the AK207, and here comes a pressure from Chad Chapman on Laughlin coming off turn 4 down the front straightaway. Just a car length and a half separate those cars, and Chapman really putting on some pressure on this rookie.
Well, Laughlin not doing a nice job. Look how loose he is. You can see the back end of that thing sliding around out there as he goes around the corner. Chapman's just trying to put all the pressure on him, trying to make him make just a little bit of a mistake. But Laughlin doing a nice job to run that race car right in the middle of the groove and make Chapman try to go someplace else on the racetrack. So far, he hasn't been able to do it. But boy, if he keeps that pressure up, it's going to be tough for Laughlin to hang on.
The guy who's led the most laps in 1997, of course, is Mario Gosselin. But second on that list is Chad Chapman. And he's got 612 circuits out front, so he knows how to lead a race. Haven't seen him at the front today, but can he get there? And here's the guy who started from the front, Gene Morgan, running for third. Marty Ward right on his tail. So a good battle for third and fourth back there. And there is Mario Gosselin in the 10 car, a very dejected driver who was involved in that accident down the front straightaway. And boy, oh boy, is it going to shake up the points. We're going to have an interesting battle if all of these cars in the front are able to finish today.
Right. Gene Morgan has moved up to third. He got a long way back on that pit stop. He started clear at the back of the line, so he's gained a lot of spots. But Chad Chapman right now really putting the pressure on Laughlin as they're heading down into turn 3. And looks like Laughlin got a little bit of a run off of him that time. First time we've seen that the last couple of laps.
And the cars are slowing on the racetrack here, Larry, as the yellow flag is out once again. So
now, interesting scenario. Do you pit or do you stay out there?
Boy, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. It looks to me like Chad Chapman probably take the chance. He's got a great set of tires. Some of the other guys, they might have to go in.
Well, we see some debris on the front stretch. That is the reason for our 7th caution. Mike Laughlin continues to lead. Can Chad Chapman beat him? I don't know. Stick around. We'll find out. Yellow flag was out for the 8th time here at Milwaukee as debris was spotted on the front stretch. We're just about to go back to racing. Ray Dunlap, Larry Rice, and Rick DeBrule bringing you the action as Mike Laughlin is really putting on a clinic today here at the Milwaukee Mile. Chad Chapman right on his bumper, and we're back underway, lap 189.
And you can see that Chad Chapman's making a move up there. The guy that you don't see in that group is Gene Morgan. He elected to come in and make a pit stop. He's the only one of the front runners that did. We'll see if that pays off. It puts him a long ways back in the field.
Well, boy, only 18 laps to go in the race, so what a gamble for Morgan. These guys up front, though, are all on used tires. This is a battle for the lead as Chapin's putting some pressure on Laughlin down into turn 1.
What, coming off before, once again, he almost got under him. He tries to sneak in. Every time Laughlin diamonds up the racetrack, he goes up the racetrack and then kind of diamonds down. He tries to sneak under him when he's a couple of car widths off the pole. Just hasn't been able to do it, though.
And Larry, there's no doubt about it. Chad's car is definitely faster, but he just can't find the way around him. Look at this. And Laughlin slides out just a half a groove, and this time Chapin will make the move coming off of turn 4 down the front straightaway. Can he hold it?
Well, Mike Laughlin was using the racetrack. That's what you got to do.
Yep.
He just didn't use it quite enough that time as he gave him just that half car width in there. Chapin took advantage of it.
Well, Chapin's car was definitely faster. We knew that, but I wasn't sure if Laughlin was going to give him room to make that happen, but I'm not sure if he did or not. Well, anyway, Chad took the spot.
That's right. And look at Marty Ward. He seems to be a lot faster on cold tires. The hotter his tires got, the farther back he fell. Now then, he is giving a lot of challenge to Laughlin.
So a good battle up front. Chad Chapin is the leader. Earlier today, we caught up with Chad, and we said, Chad, how do you set up to race a car here at the Milwaukee Mile?
You know, here the track is flat, and the basic difference is that you just don't have a bank to hold the car. So you just kind of go into the turn, and it's just gravity and you know, lack of springs or springs that just try to glue the car to the track. You don't have a bank to hold the car, to force the car into the track. So you have to create grip in the tires and you know, so that the car just doesn't slide out towards the wall. And it's a very different feel, you know, than what we were used to.
Well, you mentioned that earlier today, Larry. This kind of racing is not what most of these guys are used to.
No, it's not. It's not only bigger, but it's flatter. This racetrack is extremely flat, so you do have to work with the springs. You got to soften the race car up a little bit, but you can't get it so soft that you're going to be sliding the tires. That's kind of the magic. Chad Chapin's crew and himself have done a nice job all race long, making slight adjustments, getting that thing a little faster and a little faster. And right now, he is the fastest race car out there, and obviously pulling away just slightly from Laughlin.
Well, here's a battle for 3rd and 4th as Gary Layton and Marty Ward are putting on a show back there. Mike Laughlin appears to be pretty content to just hang on. You're right, that car is way loose. He come off a 2 that time and just about cracked the wall.
You can see that thing. It's hung out there coming off the corners. He's driving the wheels off of it, but it's an awful loose race car right now.
A battle for 3rd place as Layton takes a look to the inside. Marty Ward goes high. Layton will hold on to 3rd, and Marty Ward will be posted in 4th.
And Layton's there we see Mario Goslin. He's giving up the ghost. He's pulled in on the back straightaway. Tough break for him. It's been a long last part of the race.
I think not only did they overheat the engine a little bit there, but I think they did just enough damage to make it not be able to finish the race. We'll try to calculate that points differential at the end of the race here for you. It is going to be significant if Mario cannot get back on the racetrack. There's not that many cars out of this race.
No, there aren't. And look at Gary Layton. He right now is right on the back bumper of Mike Laughlin. He seems to have really come to life here in the last few laps. Usually when the race gets long green flag periods, he doesn't do quite as well. But on this one, he has gone better. Oh, we got a spin. Jimmy Doyle, the 91 car, spun up in turn 4.
Doyle was all by himself as he got it sideways coming in the middle of 3 and 4. Goes to yellow once again for the 9th time today here. We haven't had a lot of accidents, but a few spins, a little bit of debris out there, and it has slowed the race quite a few times. This will be the 9th caution of the day, and this will really set up a shootout.
This is going to be a shootout to the finish. Now, again, we'll see if anybody elects to come in and change. Laughlin might. His car has gone away, but I don't know. He may elect to stay out there for the track position.
Well, Laughlin runs 2nd, then it's Layton, Ward, and the 45 of Gene Morgan. Lights are out on the pace car here at the AK207. Ray Dunlap, Larry Rice, and Rick DeBrule. This is going to be a shootout, folks. The leader is Chad Chapin. And Larry, you really got a lead right at the end. And Chad Chapin hasn't led a lot today, but he's leading when you need to.
Well, right now, it looks like he is a very strong race car. He's got a nice race car set up well. Gene Morgan back in 5th spot. He's come a long way after that pit stop. It'll be interesting to see if he can make his way through there. Gary Layton also looked pretty strong after that last green flag run.
Morgan took on right side tires on that last pit stop. 2 tires to get him track position, and evidently it may have paid off here as he's back in the top 5. Green is out. The N&S Car Parts number 84 is underway as the leader. Can Mike Laughlin do anything with him? Lap 2:01, so we got 6 laps to go.
Well, we'll see if the cooler tires help Laughlin any. Help him tighten that car up a little bit. Doesn't appear to. Race car still looks very loose. He lost a lot of ground. Oh, yellow flag out right away. You see the flagman running out towards the back straightaway, so they didn't go very far as James Cottrell has trouble and looks like he's losing oil.
Yeah, the yellow is back out here. Unbelievable. We got just 6 laps to go to finish this race, but they don't want to run it with oil on the racetrack.
No, you don't want to do that under any circumstances. So as soon as they saw the oil, they threw the yellow back out. Once again, it doesn't look like anybody out there is going to go in to change tires. They're going to take their chances with what they got left. So few laps to go, you just can't give away that track position.
Boy, Mike Laughlin's car, as you said, is so loose, and that appears to be holding up the next couple of cars in line. There goes Cottrell to the pit area in the number 52 car, so we'll get him off the track, check the racetrack, and hopefully we'll be back underway.
We just saw Sammy Potashnik out there. We haven't said much about him, but he's driven a nice race today. He's still on the lead lap. He's running in 6th place, so he's done a real nice job. Probably one of his best runs of the year.
Sammy Potashnik from Sikeston, Missouri in the PTI Chevrolet, and you're right, he's on the lead lap and having a very good run on this Milwaukee Mile.
Well, they're going to go out there and check, see if there is any oil, put down some oil dry if there is, while Cottrell's in the pit area, where you can see that they will not finish this race under the yellow. They'll have to finish it under green.
So they'll go green, white, checker to finish this one out. Now, we're hearing some rumblings from down in the pits. There may be a problem with the 84. Is there, Rick?
Tom Perkins, your guys got a problem out there. What's wrong?
We think the cap come off the rear end and holds the axle in.
What does that mean?
If the axle comes out, we might be in trouble.
Can he keep going, though?
We're going to try to make it to the end.
And the odds are?
I think we'll make it. I don't think it'll come out.
What you do there, just cross your fingers, I guess, huh?
That's all you can do. He's pretty optimistic, but I'll tell you what, underneath, he's plenty worried that thing's going to come out of there. You know, when the cap comes off, you have that chance, and it's not a good option. But what are you going to do? You're leading the race. You just throw it away and come in? I don't think so. I think you got to go for it.
2 wins in 1997 for Chad Chaffin. He won the season opener at USA International Speedway and at Kingsport, Tennessee. Well, we're wondering how Mike Laughlin's car is, Rick.
Just about to bring him in on the last yellow. You decided not to. You thought about it on this one. What's the plan?
Well, we're looking at trying to balance the times we can run against what the times the cars in the field can run. There's 7 cars left on the lead lap. We just don't believe we can get good enough with the tires we got left to win. We're just going to try to hang on to what we got right now.
Better than nothing at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a good run for Michael's first Hooters Cup race, and Millicon car did a real good job for us today. We're just going to try to hang on to 2nd place and get them next week.
Well, folks, there's an awful lot of cars out here who would love to have a 2nd place finish, let alone in their first start. We'll be back to green when we come back to Milwaukee. You're watching the AK207 from the Milwaukee Mile, and this race has been brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, delightfully tacky, yet unrefined. And by Jackaroo Meat Sauce. If you've got regular meat sauce, you ain't got Jack. And by Naturally Fresh, Pure Spring Mountain Water. It's naturally refreshing.
Getting ready for a green flag. Here's the Milwaukee Mile. We're right down to it. Just a few laps to go. Chad Chaffin has a problem. Mike Laughlin has a problem. We'll see what happens with the front 2 runners, and if Gary Layton back there in 3rd can run them down.
Gary Layton in 3rd, Marty Ward in 4th, and Gene Morgan, the pole setter, running in 5th. Now in contact between Layton and Marty Ward whenever they threw the green coming off of turn 4.
What a tough break for those guys. Chad Chaffin and Laughlin were kind of scrubbing their tires right there at the end, and were didoing all over the racetrack and didn't know what was going to happen, and some of the guys got caught. You can see right there, Laughlin kind of cuts back down. He hits Layton, goes into Marty Ward, and those 2 guys were the big losers.
That's tough. That's just rookie inexperience there from Laughlin, but the 2 veterans really paid for it. Now here comes Gene Morgan down the front straightaway from 5th position, taking a battle into 2nd as he fights with Laughlin down the front straightaway. The Valonite number 45 will take 2nd spot. He won the pole today, ran strong at the beginning of the race, but fell way, way back. And here he is back as a contender. Morgan up to second.
Well, he got a great break. When all those cars made contact, he had a head of steam. So while they were gathering everything up, he went from 5th into 3rd and then went by Laughlin going down the front straightaway. And that's Marty Ward, it looks like, heading for the pits. He got a flat tire in that thing.
Oh, boy. Marty Ward running in the top 5. And now he will have to go to the pit area as Chad Chaffin continues to lead this race in the number 84 car. Then it is the 45 of
Gene Morgan in second. Mike Laughlin in third. Gary Layton came out of that thing still running in fourth, and it looks like he's gaining right now on Laughlin a little bit. But Gene Morgan was the big winner, but Chad Chaffin has pulled away from everybody.
Quite a lead there now, Larry, down the front straightaway with just a few laps remaining. And the 97 car of Marty Ward has gone to the pits. Tough break for the Hooters team. Rick, what's the situation with Marty Ward's car?
Marty Ward brings the 97 car in with just 2 laps to go. They've got to change the right front tire that went flat. He's out.
What a season Marty Ward has had, Larry.
Tough break for him. He lost 1 lap while he was going around there so slow as the white flag is out, and then he lost another one while he's in the pits. So Chad Chaffin, if that axle doesn't come out in the next 2 corners, he's going to win this race.
A top 5 run for Marty Ward has gone south. He will be posted way back behind the 10th position in this race. Chad Chaffin, 2 wins in 1997 from Smyrna, Tennessee, in the N&S Car Parts number 84, that bright green and yellow car, through the center of the turn. He comes down the front straightaway. The crew knows it. They've got to win. Tom Perkins and the boys jump up and down as the checkered flag comes out for Chaffin.
Well, they took a big chance, and they won. And Gary Layton could not get around Laughlin. First, Laughlin finishes 3rd, Morgan in 2nd, and Gary Layton comes home in 4th.
Well, taking a look at your top 5, you see Bob Shack came on strong there after the misfortune of Marty Ward. Sammy Potashnik with a good run there in the top 10, stays on the lead lap. Jabe Jones rounds out the top 15 with Doc McKinney right up there in the 50 car. Joe Harrison, Russ Galindo, Robin Caldwell. Of course, Caldwell had that hard crash down in turn number 1. And what a break for that guy. In 23rd position, Mario Goslin. And that will really shake up the points. Grindstaff and Groves round out the field. Now let's go to victory lane.
All right, Chad Chaffin, congratulations. You came away with the victory there. Let's talk about the last part of the race. Your crew said the axle cap came off at the end.
Well, that just shows something. This car was really a handful all day, and it drove as good the last 3 or 4 laps it did all day. Maybe we've had some problems inside this rear end, and maybe didn't need but 1 axle. I don't know. It must not have been using but 1 anyways.
You came here, you had problems on Friday, you weren't happy with the car. Did you ever think you were going to win this race?
Oh, I had no idea. I tell you what, to be here in the great state of Wisconsin for Hooters racing and win the Alan Kowicki Memorial Race, it's probably the biggest thrill of my career. It's just hard to believe. I didn't think we could win this race. There was about 10 or 15 laps to go.
And with Morrow having problems, you're back in the points race as well.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about that, you know, just to win this race. We thought we was out of the points, so we was just coming to win and race for the win and to get this victory. I tell you what, we outran 2 great race cars. Those Laughlin race cars, my hat's off to them. Those cars were not only fast, but they handled great all day.
Congratulations, Chad Chaffin.
Thank you.
Well, folks, you got to think about the points when you're Jackaroo Pro Cup racing. Mario Goslin had a 287-point lead coming in. It's now down to 129 points. Layton's in 2nd, Chaffin, Lesneski, and Rector.
Well, you dominated in the early going. At least you stood a chance of looking like you were going to dominate. Towards the end, you had problems.
Yeah, our tires didn't work out too good, and our pit strategy wasn't exactly what it should have been.
But you came away with 2nd.
Well, we happy to finish 2nd, the way everything went today.
Could have been a lot worse.
A lot worse.
Well, the comeback kid of today was Mike Laughlin from Simpsonville, South Carolina. I think today we could have called him Mr. Loose as a Goose.
All right, Mike Laughlin, for a while I thought you were going to sneak in and steal some of the thunder from these guys, the regulars on the tour. What happened?
Yeah, I wish I could have come in, got tires. We was running real good. I thought we had it won, and just checked there, and the tire left rear went down on us, got real loose. They ain't got but 10 pounds of air in it, so we had it won, but wouldas and couldas, you know how that is.
Glad to finish?
Oh, yeah, feels good.
Well, a 3rd place run for Mike Laughlin, a big story today, but how about Chad Chaffin picking up his 3rd victory of 1997? 2 races remain in the 1997 championship chase for the Jackaroo Pro Cup crown. South Boston Speedway's next. and then USA International Speedway. For Rick DeBrew in the pits and Larry Rice, I'm Ray Dunlap. Thanks for joining us at Milwaukee. So long, everybody. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sport.